Here that you can have a wander around the gardens and things and have a look, but we'll just check with Paul.
Okay.
But also, so he didn't just leave it for the oldest, he actually split it. And what's now known as Burswood, he left to one to the younger son, and the older son got the main house on this side of the estate. So the whole of the old village over here, what we call Old Groombridge, was actually owned by the estate. You probably see that. Have you seen the Old Groombridge over here? That it's a very quaint sort of quintessential English village. So you're all parked over there, the Crown Pub and everything belonged to the estate, and a lot of the people who were there were the people who worked on the estate. So that's just how it worked. You look across here, we've got a mill pond. Here. So there's been a house here, or a dwelling and form, since about 1100 and something. But this one only dates from 1660 something. So, and it's quite an unusual in the fact that we've got, it's an H-shaped manor house. It's quite small, really, by sort of grand home standards. But it's only one room deep in the middle. But the way that it's orientated, it's east and west. So you get the late sun coming in this way and the morning sun coming in the other way, which works and fills those rooms with light inside. These windows have all once been the lead light windows. At some point in the history of the building, they were all modernised and they put the big sash boards in because that's what people were doing. But many of the windows on the side weren't changed. I don't know whether you know about the window tax that was in this country at one point, where it said it was just for a war, but it went on for over 100 years. Because once they start taking tax off you, don't want to keep taking tax off you forever. This is what I do like about America, and I'm a bit more of the redneck on that side of things. So many of the windows around the other side are still bricked up, but many of them have been opened up as well over the years, and predates the house by quite a long way, although it's been changed many times. And it was never defensive. It is defensive, but not in the sense of marauding hordes. It was defensive from floods. We're right bang smack in the flood zone. We've got the Grom River just here, and the whole thing is designed so that you can capture the water and channel it back into the Grom, and you don't get washed away. But at the same time, the water is very valuable to them because of obviously all the water from running the mill and things like that, raising fish and doing all the other things that they were doing. So if we just look around the side, persecution when the priests were being persecuted and that sort of thing. So there are places that people could escape. There are ladders inside wall cavities and all sorts of things like that. So, and supposedly there is a tunnel from here to the pub, but we never found it.
We're still searching for that.
Yeah, well, there are periods of the history of this building. It's been left empty many times in its life. So, and at one point there was a gang of smugglers around here, or the Hawkhurst gang, and they were pretty violent. So this was empty. So they used to store their brandy and tobacco and things here. There's no one dared come. And it wasn't until they finally rounded up some military and sent them over that they captured them. So this was used as a smuggler's camp for a long time, and it's believed to be them that dug the tunnel, but that would be a hell of an undertaking.
Trying to find that.
Little cottage over the moat. This is where the priests live, known as Priest Cottage. And then the south-facing garden, which would have once been producing vegetables and fruits and all those kind of things. But as the state got richer and times changed and it became fashionable to have somewhere where you could sit around with your friends and whatever, it turned it into a flower garden just for that sort of, and built a new Victorian wall garden over that way where all the produce was produced. So this became a garden, which I'll open this gate for you and you can wander around and show yourself back out after.
We have.
And so your gardens, like you do.
We do our home produce.
So are your hopes to go?
But also here, which is through here in the dining room. So the originator of Sherlock Holmes was great friends with Mrs. Saint, who owned the property at the time when he was living in Crowborough. So he would come over here, and so there were two spinsters, spend time with them, come over on his horse and chaise or whatever. And he decided he'd write one of his books featuring Groombridge Place. So he did, and in that the body is found in the library, and it's there apparently. If you read the book, that's where the body was. So,
The name of the book is
What's the name of the book?
it's one of the Sherlock Holmes, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's mysteries, and what the name of it is currently escaping me. Let me quickly, I'll Google it for you now.
It's one of his later books, right?
Yeah. So if you read it, once you go around the garden, there's bodies found here. Once you read it, you can identify the places, and there's a little place in the top right-hand corner of the garden where Dr. Watson's walking along, and he hears. They don't hear him coming, and he overhears a conversation, and then of course he makes a wrong assumption but he thinks he knows who the murderer is as a result, and that seat was still there and all those kind of things. So. So these would have been your main stairs that would have been used by the people who lived here rather than the stairs.
Windows. Given a rescue card.
Huh?
Given a rescue card.
Some modernisation has occurred which is a bit tragic. So this one looks like a very Chelsea bathroom now. It used to look like that.
Yeah.
So this was the main bit of the master bedroom.
Modern.
No, yeah. That kind of jars you a bit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a pretty bathroom though.
Yeah, slightly out of context.
Yeah.
So presumably it'd be one of the top rooms.